Guys, welcome to Black Scout Survival. Let me first start off with letting you guys know the Marshall Police Department sent us a Christmas card. A lot of you guys, you remember during the hurricane, this is a small department. They reached out to us. They needed flashlights. And so they sent a card thanking everyone that helped that happen for them. You know, I mean, they were hit hard, devastated, and they're a very small police department. Anyway, let's get to the drones. So many have speculated that these drones are hunting for a nuclear warhead or nuclear material, radioactive material, and that there could be a possible nuclear threat within the U.S. already. Well, if that's not bad enough for you to hear, and maybe it's true, but they don't want to alarm the people. Do you think that's the right way to handle this, is to let people wonder what's going on instead of telling them that this possible threat? I don't know. I feel like American citizens should know that this is going on. Now, to add to some of this, the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission has confirmed that radioactive material was lost in transit earlier this month. Well, and it could be the reason why the mysterious drone activity is happening in New Jersey. Now, listen to this New Jersey mayor real quick.
In my opinion, they're looking for something. What might they be looking for? Well, potentially, we're aware of a threat that came in through Port Newark. Maybe that's radioactive material. There was and there is an alert that's out right now that radioactive material in New Jersey has gone missing on December 2nd. It was a shipment. It arrived at its destination. The container was damaged and it was empty. So potentially we're looking for that.
Stop right there, Mayor, because that's very important information. And that came from a credible source.
That came from the U.S. government.
And so it's missing?
Missing.
And they think it's in New Jersey, or it could be anywhere?
It was lost in New Jersey, in transit. And again, this is just an example of what I think that we're sniffing for. I think we do have the assets that can go up and fly around and sniff things, which is why we're not seeing the uptick we used to see in Belleville anymore. It's kind of moving, but we're seeing alerts that it's happening now in Pennsylvania.
And that's right about the time that the drone sightings began, right?
Yeah, drone sightings began about 4 weeks ago.
Okay, so when you take a look at this, if this information is indeed credible, why wouldn't the government say, it's us?
That's the crazy part about this. We've gotten very little information. Even yesterday on that call with the White House, literally mayors were told, you guys are seeing things. There's no credibility to this. We have one mayor, like I said, had drones over his house. I mean, we're no longer going to stand for not hearing the truth. I mean, our state government is failing us. They're not getting the answers from the federal government. And even though yesterday they told us that there's nothing to see here, today there's a top secret briefing going on in Congress. Well, what are they being told that we weren't told yesterday?
Real quick, did you know yesterday when you were on that call about this missing radioactive activity or merchandise, or did you know that this morning after the call?
I was made aware of it yesterday morning. I did raise my hand. We weren't allowed to speak. I did raise my hand, was not called on to get that question answered.
So apparently it is concerning. Even the president-elect, who I'm sure gets some kind of briefings on things, he says he's not going to his home in Bedminster, right?
Yeah, I listened to him yesterday. He no doubt gets the same exact briefings that President Biden gets. He says our government knows. He says our president knows. And he also...
So it's true. I watched Trump talk about this. Many of you may have as well. And he stated that he would not be going to Bedminster. He would not be staying there. And obviously he does get the security briefing, so he knows something's going on. Maybe he doesn't get the full spectrum of what it is, but it's crazy because my biggest question is, what is the Democrats planning? And I'm going to throw you a curveball here shortly. Now, the New York Post has posted this. China is most likely the cause of unexplained aircraft wreaking havoc over U.S. House Foreign Affairs Chair says in bombshell claim. Now, this Foreign Affairs Committee, obviously they met about this and they have a lot of questions. But Michael McCall said Tuesday that he believes that some unidentified drones spotted above New Jersey and New York are indeed spy drones from China, after Biden officials insisted many of the aircraft are innocent commercial aircraft. And that's what you keep hearing. You keep hearing that these things are innocent and it's nothing to worry about. Look over here at this hand while this one's moving over here. He says, we want answers, but the responses I'm getting is we don't know whose drones they are. He told reporters before executive branch officials offered a classified briefing to members of House Intelligence Committee. So they had a briefing, a classified, top secret that we're not aware of in the public, just to let you know. He also says, I was with the NASA administrator, Bill Nelson. He said that these drones have been reported over military sites, military bases, and I would not think these are friendly. I would also think that these are adversarial. Now, the biggest thing is that you can't fly drones. Even one of the bases got shut, or two bases, I think from what I heard, is two bases got shut down because they were infiltrated by these drones over military bases, which is crazy. Like they're saying they're innocent, but they're flying over military bases. And these things are not like commercial drones you can purchase. These things are the size of SUVs. We keep hearing that. We've seen footage of that. These things are not your typical off-the-shelf DJI drone. Now, we also saw this come out. Former UK conservative leader warns Chinese espionage could be deeper than one case. He alleged CCP-linked spy infiltrated elite circles, including ties to Prince Andrew. So we know that Joe Biden just allowed a bunch of Chinese nationals to get pardons. I don't know if you're aware of that, but he did. And there was just a Chinese national flying a drone over the Space Force secret site that was apprehended, I talked about last week. Now, how many of these are just folks out flying drones, flying airplanes, what have you? How many of them are adversarial drones? We know that China has bought up a ton of land around military bases. This is a fact. We've heard Congress talking about this, trying to put a stop to this, you know, in some of our most secret locations. Now, the Pentagon did answer some questions today related to this drone sightings reported across the East Coast. Now, a joint statement was issued Monday by the FBI. This is a joint statement, okay? So FBI, Department of Homeland Security, Department of Defense, and the Federal Aviation Authority or Administration explained that they have found no credible threats reported of drones above the civilian airspace. But they didn't say military airspace. Now, I'm going to play some of the briefing here so you can see how this Pentagon official dodges the questions.
Can you unequivocally say that none of the drones that are being spotted are DoD assets or something that's being tested within the Defense Department? Are all of these either civilian or otherwise, but just not Department of Defense drones?
You're talking about the drones in New Jersey up and down the... Yes, they are not DoD assets.
None of them are.
To my knowledge, none of them are.
We know lawmakers are being briefed on Capitol Hill and members of the public. This isn't really, sitting well with them. They aren't really kind of taking this explanation for those that really saw these drones with their own eyes. So what would you say to them?
Well, again, I definitely don't want to minimize the significant interest and the concern that people have. You could go out of here right after this briefing and go and buy a drone, and you could fly it around your neighborhood. And as long as you're flying it appropriately and not in restricted airspace, there's nothing illegal about flying that drone. But I think it's important to understand, too, just the volume of drone activity that will likely only increase into the future. And the fact that it is legal to fly drones, and if they go into restricted airspace, of course, we'll take appropriate action.
Why does it have to be a classified briefing if these are just hobbyist drones, they're not military drones?
I'd have to refer you to Congress on that. We are sharing as much information as we can based on what we know.
So he said they are not military drones. You heard him say that. So who is it? And then he says, oh, they're hobbyist drones. But we have not seen any. I mean, you wouldn't really care if you saw a small DJI drone. I mean, that's the thing. Some of these things are shooting things. Some of these things are spraying things. We keep stating this, but it's wild. You know what I mean? And there's reports of some of these UAPs that have zero heat signature. That is typical to store-bought drones. And many of them, and this is coming from police officers, say they go dark and disappear when approached. They'll fly nonstop for 6 to 7 hours, and are coming from the ocean.
The department says these mystery drones evade detection because they don't give off heat like regular drones.
Why do you think that is? We don't know. It's just something that we haven't, it's not something that we've had our hands on. It's not.
So evading detection can't be tracked, and some people ask about the lights, like, oh, they have lights, they're trying to be covert. If it is an adversarial drone, let's just play that card. I think it would be smarter to have lights on them, because if you have drones with no lights, it's going to really bring some questions. I would view it as some sort of camouflage. That's why you have people like John Kirby stating there's nothing going on.
Now examined some 5,000 different sightings. We've added detection capabilities, additional observers. As you and I stand here today, to date, our assessment is that this is lawful, legal, commercial, hobbyist, and even law enforcement aircraft activity. Some of it's manned, some of it's unmanned. We absolutely acknowledge that a lot of these are probably drones, but they're flying legally, and it is legal to fly drones in non-restricted airspace as long as you're registered with the FAA. And there's thousands and thousands of these kinds of flights every single day. I think there's more than 1 million drones that are registered with the FAA just in the United States alone.
Again, nothing to see here. Now, here's Fox News grilling him pretty hard.
Now decided to employ some additional technology to New Jersey and some additional personnel to try to get a better sense of what these things are. And as I said yesterday, Martha, as soon as we know, we're going to.
No, I hear you. This is shocking. I got to tell you, this is shocking. Okay, and I'm not the only person who feels this way. This was happening at Langley a month ago. Okay, these people are not crazy. They're seeing these things with their own eyes. This is not normal behavior. They are not planes that are coming in one direction and they're heading into Newark Airport and then they're landing. Okay, we spend $824 billion on defense. We have the greatest intelligent capability in the world. So how can you stand there and say to the country right now, gosh darn, we just don't know what these are?
Because I'm not going to lie to you or to the American people, and I'm not going to say we know something when we don't. And we would never, ever stoop to think that an American citizen was crazy or nuts because of what they're seeing and what they're documenting.
Yeah, right. Okay. Anybody remember the pandemic? I mean, come on. I mean, if you go back to this is to me, although it's something different, it's not the hokey pokey and all this other nonsense. It's still reminiscent, the same type of double speak, the same type of playing us as idiots, morons. Hey, believe this because the big government says this. I don't believe anything he says. And the fact that he doesn't know anything, as he keeps saying, is very alarming.
Documenting, we're taking that imagery seriously, and we're doing the best we can to analyze it. And we encourage people to come forward if they have additional sightings and imagery. We want to do the best we can to triangulate it. But I'll be gosh darn if I'm going to stand up here and make up stuff that I don't know to be true.
We don't want you to make up anything.
Well,
do you know?
I mean, let's just be honest. You guys are great at making up stuff. You've been making up stuff this entire time. I've done countless videos of John Kirby telling absolute fabrications.
Oh, and you can't say? Can you tell me that?
No, I'm telling you, Martha, I'm telling you, we don't know. We can't corroborate every single sighting. Some of them we have, not all of them, and we're working hard to do that. We know people are afraid of it. We know people have concerns. We have those same concerns.
Yeah, because they're flying over your house, and it sounds like there are motorcycles landing on your roof. So let me ask you this. One, person who watched this online said they think it's a Pterodynamics Transwing Drone XP4, which is being developed by the U.S. Navy as a recon and logistics drone capable of picking up and dropping off packages between land and moving ships in high seas and winds. They're suggesting it's an American company. We asked the company. They said we can't speculate on the origin of the drones that are flying over New Jersey. So is that an avenue that has been inspected? Is this a private company that is practicing something? And wouldn't they have to clear something with somebody to have this kind of activity?
It could very well be, as I said, these could be commercially developed.
He says it could be. Why would we not know? Why would you not know? If this was something developed for the military, then why would you not know? I also saw someone here say that Elon Musk has been awful quiet. I've been saying the same thing. Now, I've heard that he says something about it, but I've not seen anything. I even searched his X account. I couldn't find anything. I do know that Andrew Tate called him out directly to speak about it, and he did not respond to it. So that is an oddity to me.
Drones of some kind.
Why not just take one down and figure out what's going on?
Well, the idea of taking something down, again, you want to worry about public safety. First of all, we don't have enough conclusions to take that kind of a policy action. But let's just assume for a minute, Martha, that we did. I mean, you're not going to want to shoot.
So flying over military bases is not a policy action to destroy something and figure out what it is. You know what I'm saying? We have seen them flying over, shutting down military bases, air traffic.
Something down where it can hit somebody's house or hurt somebody.
Well, the Coast Guard says that there are 30 of them following one of their ships in the ocean. So would that work?
I mean, again, we have to develop the policy options based on what we know we're dealing with here, and we just don't.
Policy options means take more of your rights for safety and security. I'm tired of hearing that. I don't want to hear that nonsense anymore. No more legislation, not another law.
Know enough to make those to take those kinds of actions, but my goodness, we're going to do everything we can to find out, and we're going to share as much as we can.
Gee willikers, we're going to find out. Quit.
I understand it's frustrating for folks.
Yeah.
It's frustrating for us. We want to know as well.
What does President Biden say about it?
He also,
Joe Biden cannot put together a sentence. I don't know if you guys read that report. Apparently, there's a whistleblower that leaked that working at the White House stated that Joe Biden cannot put together a coherent sentence.
has tasked the team to look into this and to be energetic in doing it to try to get answers. He saw some of these images yesterday. He has talked to his team, including his top leaders, including at the Defense Department.
And Have you called in like AI experts or said like, why don't we ask Elon Musk what he thinks, or brought in outside experts?
We're working really hard right now inside our in the interagency, and certainly supporting the FBI and DHS as they investigate this.
Someone in the chat said, sorry, Jill tasked the team. It's about right.
And if we need to have additional conversations with people outside the lifelines, we.
Oh, they're not. He's not going to call any Elon Musk. Come on. Yeah, right. All right, check this out. This is the sheriff up there, and he's discussing the Coast Guard, notifying the Coast Guard the drones are coming from the ocean, which Sabrina Singh, the Pentagon spokesperson, said, no, that's not true.
A couple of things that have happened. We have a very robust drone program in Ocean County. We've had it for 8 years or more. We're very fortunate. It's headed by Sergeant Fennessy. When we started to get these reports at the 911 center from local PDs, we went out and we decided to do a drone patrol, more or less. And we took our tethered drone, which you see over here, that the officers are demonstrating, and we put it up in the air on Saturday night a week ago. At that time, Sergeant Fennessy, who's an experienced drone operator and pilot, and Officer D'Amico spotted one of the items that brought us concern. They videotaped it as far as they were. They got some tape on it. They described it as going around their drone and traveling off at a high rate of speed. They reported to us that it was, they felt it was 60 miles an hour or more. And to put it in perspective, our drones only go about 40 miles an hour. So that's number one. Sunday night, we were out again. This time was Sergeant Fennessy once again. And at that point, we got notified by our 911 center there was concern of a sighting in Island Beach State Park. We responded. We met an officer, a certified New Jersey law officer, not from our department, from another agency. And that officer did an excellent job. She documented. That's where you're getting the reports of 50 drones coming off the ocean. That's what she reported seeing. She was on duty at the time, and she reports that she saw 50 drones coming from the ocean to the mainland, transversing the airways over Island Beach State Park, going down towards Barnegat Light and coming to the seaside area. As a result of that, we continue to operate. We've obviously notified all of our partners, FBI, state police, Coast Guard. Coast Guard cutter put out a boat at a Barnegat Light. They reported to us what the Congressman referred to the comments. I have not spoken to the people on that boat directly. So what are we doing? We're taking proactive.
So when he says that she documented, I'm assuming that she is the one that filmed the video that I saw, that I was not sure that if it was AI or not. And I saw something that looked like, I mean, it looked like hundreds to me, but orbs coming from the ocean, like far out, distant from the ocean. And so when he's saying she's documenting, I'm assuming she must have filmed with her phone. So it's a credible source. But anyway, let me throw the curveball for you. This is odd. Chuck Schumer, he is apparently joined in on the questioning, and he's it would seem to be not in the circle anymore, because all the League of Shadows are in unison stating, oh, it's just people flying drones at night legally over military bases the size of Escalades. But he is now questioning. And, you know, it's funny because a few weeks ago at the dinner, he was sitting with Donald Trump at the they had seats right beside each other. They were chuckling, patting each other on the back. I don't know. So let me play the video for you real quick.
Lots of recent sightings in New York, New Jersey, Long Island, Staten Island. So it's remarkable with all these sightings over the last while. Why do we have more?
But you notice how like he's showing this picture of like a standard DJI type drone. This is not what people are seeing.
Questions than answers. If the technology exists for a drone to make it up into the sky, there certainly is the technology that can track the craft with precision and determine what the heck is going on. Today we're asking the DHS, the Department of Homeland Security, to deploy special detection systems like the Robin, which use not a linear line of sight, but 360-degree technology that has a much better chance of detecting these drones. And we're asking
So, yeah, someone just said that, you know, it's not the Temu special that he just showed. That ain't even a freaking DJI, but like this individual here, they're many that I've seen are like boomerang shaped and have no sound. You know, you can hear a freaking jet cruise by. These have no sound.
DHS to bring them to the New York, New Jersey area. I've written the Secretary of Homeland Security, Secretary Mayorkas, not only to urge action on technology like the Robin, but also to get him to support legislation. It's called S-1631. Right now, state and local law enforcement does not have the ability or the legal authority to detect drones. It's only the federal agencies. But because there are so many of these drones in so many places, our local authorities want and need the help. This legislation will...
They're not going to get it because, like John Kirby, the Pentagon said, they're just hobbyists out flying drones around military bases at night. That's what they're saying. That's how you know it's complete BS, right? Now, I like how that you can fly a drone over a military base and nothing happened to you. But if you have a freaking pet squirrel, they're going to do a no-knock raid on you. You know what I mean? You can't make this up. Now, let's also not forget that Ukraine has been a testing ground for drone combat. And I don't mean doing surveillance with a drone. That's old tech, right? It's also being used for direct combat. Like they're weaponizing these small commercial drones, you know, and even making them faster and do various sorts of things. And if you think they're foreign surveillance drones, you know, I mean, maybe some of them are. Again, the Chinese nationals just caught doing that. But I really believe there's two options here. It's us. And to me, that's even more scarier, because that means even more scary. Sorry. Because they're not telling us that they're trying to find nuclear materials here in the US that could be weaponized against us. And they are sending out that many drones. They have that many sniffer drones, thousands, which would make me not believe that they would have that many, and that they're looking for something. That's terrifying, because that means there's a real threat to the public and they're not telling you. Right now, we heard a congressman say that there was an Iran mothership. There's also come a second congressman that has came forward and said the same thing, and he says he has credible evidence that they are Chinese drones on an Iranian mothership. So who knows? A lot of people will say, "Oh, these companies testing out drones." Like we discussed on Friday, they're not going to test these over your freaking subdivision, man. They have testing sites for that. They would hate to crash a super secret project in the cul-de-sac, and then little Timmy and his buddies get a hold of it. You know, they're not going to allow that. They have testing sites for this. They're going to do it in rural areas. To me, it doesn't look like advanced tech. I saw Nancy Mace say that, it could be aliens. It's not some kind of freaking advanced technology. Oh, somewhat it is, because apparently they can operate for long periods of time, and they can, but that could be advanced tech in the premise that our enemies have outdeveloped us, because we've been so focused on DEI objectives. And to be honest, have zero faith in the Pentagon, have zero faith in your intelligence agencies. They have all been DEI'd. Okay, they have. You can't trust any intelligence from these people. They're giving it to the lowest common denominator based on whatever they feel like they are, if they're a cat this week, right? So it's either a foreign adversary that has planned to weaponize them, or it's us looking for a foreign adversary who's made a weapon, like radioactive, nuclear, maybe possible EMP. That is my opinion on what this could be. The other thing is that you notice how there was a terrible shooting today, yesterday, and it really kind of took people's interest away from this. And now they're calling for gun legislation. They were not calling for that the other week when Brian Thompson was shot by Luigi Mangiano. They were not calling for that. But if you notice these things happening, these drones are around where Trump was supposed to be. He did have a few attempts, and nobody knows why. You know what I'm saying? I just think it's these two variables, and both of them are bad. Both of them are not good. Keeping Americans blind by possible threats by a foreign government is terrible. Another thing is that they would love to go to war with Iran. America's best ally would love that too. They're taking land into Syria right now. They would love to do that. They would love to get a reason for that. And I guarantee if Thomas Crooks was successful, he probably would have been found by the intelligence organizations to have been Iran-backed, to give them a reason to do it. Let me holler at my chat for a minute, baby. G, Merry Christmas, Jack and all. Thank you. Pacello, thank you. Love you. Man, he's got the old school crest on. You see his old school crest. Scam, deep state campaign to ban drones. Let's face it, civilian drones are tactical. Could be true, man. That could be a possibility as well. I mean, they've been trying to get drones under wraps for a while now. King David the Doggo says false flag, and Single Plytech has joined up to be a member. Awesome, dude. Good to have you. Silent Guard, there was one of the school at a school yesterday, funeral part today. Yeah, and the thing is that school was also a Christian school. Christianity is always the religion that's under attack. It's how it is. And the Bible told us that. It told us it would be that way. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you hanging out with me. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment. Let me know what your thoughts about this. If you think my two theories are credible. And remember to stay frosty, stay strapped, and always stay dangerous. Take care.